Whoa, it's a whole art gallery of them. So dope. Wow. That's how it should be. Hello. Today we're going to go through my top 10 wish list plants as of mid-spring 2024. And stick around till I reveal number 10, which actually isn't an aroid. All right, number 1 is Anthurium antolakii. It used to be called Anthurium Black Velvet Eastern Panama, and this plant is absolutely captivating to me. This is one of the darkest Anthurium that my eyes perceive, and I love that it almost has like no contrasting veination, and the shape of the sinus, the top of the leaf, is just like a very cool looking shape. I love the width of the leaf too, but I don't know if these are Photoshop, but it just comes across on Instagram as such a dark looking velvety Anthurium. And even the Carla crosses with antolakii look really cool. It ends up giving them a bit of a colored veination in this hybrid cross, so it's not exactly my favorite. I actually don't love the Carla style of leaf shape and veination personally. That's just my opinion. But this is here's a really cool antolakii dark phoenix cross, a very pinched sinus at the top, pretty contrasting veins, but that nice wide leaf, and of course the dark foliage. Oh, this is Anthurium. This is Nick. He's got some really cool plants. Here's a Carla antolakii on video, which just shows almost like the color change when you look at it from different angles. Super, super pretty. All right, next up is the Alocasia maharani variegata. I think the texture of this does it for me, and also the closed sinus at the top of the leaf, that it actually doesn't have a break in it. And also just like you can almost feel the texture by looking at the photo of this plant. And many times the variegation of this plant is heavily contrasted, and this particular one just looks like a camouflage pattern. Looks like it might be slightly more resilient to spider mites than the other alocasias, but the leaves just seem super cool. I guess when they mature, they end up having a bit of a break in the sinus at the top of the leaf, but I love the texture. And look at like the veination. It's almost like the tread of a tire in the pattern on those leaves. I love that like deep hunter green crossed with like the mint. It's a really, really nice pattern. I think these have come down a little bit in price. That's a gorgeous one. A ton of white, fantastic coloring. Alocasia have definitely grown on me. I'm finally starting to figure them out, and they're really fun to grow. They're very rewarding to grow. It's very challenging, but when you get them right, they're gorgeous. Even the unvariegated maharani are so stunning. It's a texture for sure on this plant. And just a reminder, this week's video is sponsored by our new fertilizer, Leaf Lux. You can get it on Amazon Prime, delivered to your house in the US in 2 days. So support our business and grab Leaf Lux. It works for every media, leca, soil, aroid mix, pond. I use it on everything. I water everything in my house with one bottle, and it has the right NPK, and it actually has calcium, which a lot of fertilizers don't have enough of it. All right, and because this is a wish list, let's go ahead and put on the list ridiculously priced plants like the Monstera Constellation tricolor or the Tricon. This one just gets me every time. And for the price, at least domestically in Florida, I reached out to Mike, MDA1635 is his Instagram, I think. And I wanted to say, he said it was like $3,500, and they're pretty hard to find to import because they're so rare. And I think the people that have their hands on them don't really want to share them. Oh wow, there's the Devil Monstera again. It's weird to see. I like it less now, seeing it, I guess, this many weeks later. I always wonder if this is a real plant. It's always posted by Laniata House, and it's the Monstera deliciosa Starlight. It has a gorgeous pattern, but I've DM'd them and asked them for videos to see the nodes, to see what it looks like, and they never send anything. I assume it's real, but I would take a tricolor Constellation. It is such a stunning plant. I'm just a sucker for a Monstera and a variegated Monstera that has the colorings of all the variegation. Next up is the Homalomena rubescens. These, from what I can tell, are pretty hard to import because it can be a very finicky plant. But when they are really thriving and healthy and acclimated, they can be so damn pretty. I think Kaylee Ellen posted one on Instagram recently. Yeah, this is the Homalomena. Yeah, I got that right. Rubescens variegata. It is so pretty, and again, it's a contrast thing for me. Hit me with some textured leaves or some heavy contrasting, that green and pink. It's so pretty, and they get nice like big round like leaves. I feel like this listing is always on Etsy. That's a real specimen of a plant. That's what gets me. The red petioles, the aurea like coloring. I mean, it just can vary so much. I actually brought a bunch of those in at the tissue culture size. I ended up killing a lot of them because I was trying to multiply them, so they got contamination. But you can see even at the small size, I think that's the way to bring them in, is at the small tissue culture size and then try and grow them out. But I hear they can be pretty just tough to grow. I had more of the pink mint version of them like this, so it didn't have a lot of chlorophyll in the leaves, but I'm still waiting for Homalomena to become a super popular plant. I just think they're hard to import and not super easy to cut. All right, next up is the mature version of the Burle Marx Flame Monstera. Monstera dilacerata. The tough thing is we had a mother plant version of one of these. It was getting its fenestrations, it was getting large, and we ended up selling it last year, which financially wasn't a bad idea, but they're so damn pretty when they get large. It looks like flames. Like the leaves have such a cool snarl to them, and it's a really sturdy looking plant because it is a monstera. Mine always grew slow, but a lot of people were saying they put it theirs in pond, self-watering pond, and they just take off. So maybe I'll try that. I don't usually do monstera in pond because the thickness of the roots. I usually think they like aeroid mix or a leca to like run their thick roots through, but maybe I'll try pond. Here's another version of, oh, someone's cutting this Burle Marx. I mean, the leaves are so pretty on the mature version. The tough part is I don't particularly love the immature version of the Burle Marx when it's small. Not my favorite plant, it just kind of looks boring. I guess it's like a spiritus. When they're tiny, they're not super fun to look at, but when they get bigger, they're just beautiful plants. Next up is the Variegated Philodendron Gloriosum. Now, I don't mean the heavily blocked out version. That's not my favorite. It's beautiful for sure. I really am a sucker for the like galaxy-like splattered variegation patterns. These tend to come out of TC. I've been offered them a bunch actually in TC. Actually, interestingly enough, from China, which I've been very hesitant to try out. But I have someone DMing me on Instagram all the time trying to sell me Chinese tissue culture. There's like, if I could have this plant, that's the plant I want. It's so pretty. Again, looks camouflaged, heavy contrast. I know they get spider mites, so I'll be spraying all the time, but it's just a really pretty plant. The galaxy style of variegation, that Monstera Tycon splattering, the green Congo hybrids, the orange princess, that's also a nice balance of the nice half mooning with the marbling. That's like the ideal. That's the most expensive plant, right? Full half mooning and then a marbling with some green on the other side. It's Opanya's variegated plants. Dude has some of the most beautiful plants. I think he's in Indonesia. There's Kaylee Ellen's. I mean, they're beautiful, but I guess it's like sectoral variegation for me. Even on albos, I'm like, it's just not my favorite. It might be your favorite though, and that's cool. That's what this is about. This isn't about finding the most popular plant, the most expensive plants. You actually find out on the last plant, it's like not an expensive plant. It's just a plant I really want. Next up is the Alocasia watsoniana. Alocasia watsoniana. The venation is so stunning. The closed sinus, like the huge leaves. I've been offered these in tissue culture. I want to say they're like $300 a bag still in the tissue culture bag still. So they're really expensive, but just like the maharani, it looks like it has a bit of a thick cuticle on that leaf. So it could be a little more resilient to the spider mites, hopefully, than something like a Friedeck that has that velvety soft leaf that can brown off and be susceptible to spider mites. I know I said I didn't really love the Carla because the venation, but there's something about this leaf. Maybe because it's a very, for sure, venation in contrast. Like I feel like the Carla is kind of like blurred, at least to me, but these are like very hard lines drawn through this leaf. Almost looks like roots. There's a gorgeous version. Is this a Watson? I'm not sure. Looks slightly more narrow. There's definitely different versions because like look at the venation on this one. D20. But there we go. Very pretty plant to me. What do you think? Do you like the Alocasia Watson? I'm just gonna call it called the Alocasia watsoniana. So that plant's pretty expensive still, but very pretty. The orange princess philodendron, I just actually got a few in tissue culture, and I imported a few just to test because everyone got mad when I said import flipping is over, which I meant import flipping and making money from the flip is mostly over. You can make some margin, but those 3 to 5x flips people were making is mostly over. Yes, you can bring in one of these. I think they cost me like 80 to 100 bucks, maybe 120. I'll have to check the invoice. But even in tissue, they were like 40 bucks or so. I just love the contrast. Looks like a pink princess, but with some orange. There's not a lot of pictures of them on the internet, actually. Noede's variegated world, I've come across him before. He has some very rare. There you go. That's what I'm here for, folks. Very, very pretty. Galaxy-like variegation. Looks stable. I mean, geez, it looks fake. This is the plant to get. It looks just like the pink princess galaxy ones that were coming out like a year or two ago out of Thailand. This is definitely something that they're doing in vitro within the tissue culture to make them create that style of variegation. I think we'll learn soon what that is. And there's a beautiful Homalomena. Was that the exact same one? But yeah, it catches my eye every time. Striking. My feed is now like a mixture of what I just looked up. Really, really pretty. Okay, so Gloriosum tricolor is what they're calling that one. I do love a tricolor. Tricolor just about anything. I have no taste. Just put all the variegation on one plant. And I'm like, oh, I love it. Very, very pretty. Same seller, I think. Born to plants in Thailand. All right. Anthurium Mr. Worldwide. Indoport with NSC port. Oh, I never knew what the cross was. I think Ada has one. See, and I prefer it over the Delta Force. The Delta Force just looks like the stems, the petioles look a little wispy. There's Worldwide. Yes. I saw her post this the other day. I love the wide sinus. I love like a diamond shaped leaf. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. And it just looks sturdy, like nice, thick petioles. The Delta Force just looks a little thin, a little wimpy. Not my favorite. I know I've talked shit about the Delta Force before. This is besides that. Does she have a maharani too? Dragon scale albo. Looks close. And finally, number 10, not an aroid, a staghorn fern. Platycerium. I think we should see these like on the walls of houses. I'd love to have one on the wall on like reclaimed wood with it just like growing off of the wall. I know nothing about these plants. I know ferns are one of the oldest plants on Earth. They're not even flowering plants, if I remember. Platycerium is a genus of 18 fern species in the polypod family. Interesting. It's native to South America, Africa, Asia, Australia, and Papua New Guinea, or New Guinea. So there's just a bunch of different versions of the staghorn fern. When they get really, really big, they're, I guess, not my favorite. It kind of looks like a batch of cabbage with some leaves sticking out. But I think really early on, they're very pretty. They're not my favorite when they look like that. I guess any plant when it's outdoors and like unkempt and untrimmed is not my favorite like that. That's not really fair. But when they look like pieces of art on a wall, like this is gorgeous to me. Platycerium veitchii katsu. It's so interesting. So many species are shared. There's veitchii across multiple different genera. Very pretty plant. That is dope. Wow. That's what I mean. Like, it's in an art gallery, it looks like. Yeah, and it's all roped off. That is what I'm talking about. Let's make that cool here in the US. It's already really cool in Asia. Sean from Only Plants always talks about Platycerium. Whoa, it's a whole art gallery of them. So dope. Wow. That's how it should be. Plants, to me, I'm not big into art, like modern art or like paintings or anything like that, but like plants, the natural world, putting that up on the wall or just having our plants in our house, that's the best version of art. Non-man-made art. No offense to artists out there. I guess this is a form of art too, but I don't respect this type of art even compared to plants. Nature does it best to me, but it's besides the point. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you did enjoy it, click the like button down below and subscribe because we make a new video about plants every week. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there that considers themselves a mother. Have a great one. We'll see you next time.